call Allah, Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahushai Ba'asham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, the men whom Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai have chosen to give them the knowledge and understanding to break down the scriptures and to teach. Okay, and we give them double honors because the labor has been done for us already. The breakdowns have been broken down for us already. Okay, we who have received their report and now, are pushing this truth. Okay, this work was made easy because of them. Okay, that's why we give them double honors. Okay, and with that being said, shalom to the hopefully elect who listening and learning. Okay, Lord willing, I am one of those men. Okay, and just thinking about how things are just developing right now through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. You can see that everything that the Lord pronounced, prophesied in his word in the scriptures are being fulfilled. If you have the spirit of discernment, which Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai would have to give you, you can see that his word is being made perfect right now. It's being fulfilled. Everything that is pronounced in the scriptures is being fulfilled. From the Israelites, disobeying him, to being scattered amongst our enemies through the four corners, through captivities, through us losing who we are as a people, to the Lord giving us to be a prey amongst them. And now his spirit has awoken us to remember ourselves again and to come back to him. Those who have the spirit and are willing. Okay. This is the best time ever to be alive, to see the manifestations of the scriptures and the Lord actually displaying his power to let you know that, the Lord ruleth among men, and there's none other like him. There's nothing, no other power but him. Okay, from the rising of the sun to the going down of the same. Okay, he is all powerful, man. And, the time is coming where the men that are on the highways and byways, the men that are doing these videos, man, they're going to be lifted up. They're going to be the ones that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai really separate from all the people that are on this planet. Right now they're being ridiculed, they're scoffed against. The majority of society looks at us like we're foolish. We're labeled as enemies. Everybody wants to come against the Israelites, man. and everything that we speak in the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, man. But soon, the very thing that they say towards us, and the very thing that, they pronounced against us, it'll come upon them, as if you're in the know, the brother Polite, how he, accused the elders and apostles of great millstone of pushing a grape, you know what I'm talking about, the grape doctrine, and Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has a great sense of humor. Now he's behind bars on the very charge that he falsely accused our elders of. And so will it be, man, to all those that come up against us. Lord willing, I'm one of those men. Okay? But before that happens, there has to be a process, okay, that the Lord is going to take his men through. And right now, we're going through that process, man. We're being chastised in certain ways. We're being, brought through a straight gate, so to speak, to get rid of, certain impurities, certain things about us that, the Lord wants to refine. So, when we go through this process and we come out on the other side, man, we're going to be, his men are going to be the elite, the new Luciferians, if you will, light bearers, man. Okay. Just now, going through this lesson, bring out some scripture, and Lord willing, it's edifying, man. Let's go to Isaiah 1. Excuse my stomach. Let me start at Let's go to Isaiah 1 and 21. It says, how is the faithful city become an harlot? And that word harlot is referring to the whorish ways of Israel and Judah, man. To go a whoring after these other nations and their idols. Okay, and this was pronounced by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua before it even happened, man. Scriptures say, former things do I declare, right? And new things, okay, do I pronounce, roughly paraphrasing, before they take place, I tell you of them. And that's one of the things that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua told our forefathers that we were going to do before it actually happened. And the punishment thereof for us being scattered. It says, how is the faithful city become an harlot? Okay, it was full of judgment, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. Okay, it says, thy silver is become dross, thy wine is mixed with water. Thy wine mixed with water. You see, and that represents contamination, man. That represents us going the wrong way, man. Being laden with iniquity. Okay, and I believe that's in the same chapter right here. I missed it. Okay. Isaiah 4:1-4. It says, I, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel to anger. They are gone away backwards, And us going backwards, meaning we went back to the idol worshiping that we were doing in Egypt and, Babylon and, Assyria, Nineveh, these ancient civilizations and kingdoms is where we were taught and embraced their customs, which the Lord told us not to. But we did it anyway, right? It says, Zion corrupted to be redeemed. All right. It says, how is the faithful city become an harlot? It was full of judgment, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. Thy silver is become dross, thy wine mixed with water. Okay. It says, thy princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Okay. So everything that the Lord, told us not to participate in, not to be like these other nations, the very nations that he removed from the land of Canaan because of their idolatry, we end up going there and doing similar things, sometimes even worse. Okay. It says, therefore saith the Lord of hosts, the Holy One, the Mighty One of Israel, I will ease me of mine adversaries and avenge me of my enemies. So right there you see Yahweh Shem outside calling his people adversaries. When you look up that word adversary, you'll see that it's talking about Tazar, which, it goes back to that word Tazarah.
Strong's H, 6862. Tser.
Okay. It says narrow, tight straits. Okay. Distress, adversary, foe, enemy, oppressor, hard, feeble, hard pebble, flint. Okay. Basically an enemy, the enemy of Yahweh Shem Shai. And the Lord said he's going to avenge himself of his enemies. So you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are the true biblical Israelites, you have become enemies of Yahweh Shem Shai. And therefore, that's why he has labeled you as strangers unto him, as, as Gawayam, children of the other nations, because that's how, far away from him you have gone. Verse 25, it says, and I will turn my hand upon thee and purge and purely purge away thy dross and take away thy tin. Okay, so the Lord is going to purify his men. Okay, it says, and I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Okay, afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. And that's what is going to happen, therefore, soon, because you see that the Lord is making a separation with his elect, man. Let me go to... Well, I guess we stay in Isaiah since we're already here. Let's go to Isaiah 12. Because the Most High sees us as his precious jewels, man. But for precious jewels to shine, they have to be purified, man. Okay. So Isaiah 13:12 says, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Okay. And for that to happen, there's a purifying process that has to happen, man. Okay. Let's go to Zechariah 13:9. We can start at 8. It says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And that third is speaking of the elect of Israel. Okay. It says 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. Right? So 2 parts, meaning the majority of Israel, will be sacrificed here in Babylon the Great. Okay? Because they refuse to turn back. It says, and I will bring the third part through the fire. And that fire, speaking of Jacob's trouble and the last trump. Okay, these missiles that's going to bring down Babylon the Great. Okay, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name. Okay, they shall call on my name. But you have to have the name, the proper name. Okay, the name of the Most High is Yahweh, meaning he exists, he is. Okay, the name of his son is Yahweh Shai, meaning he, the deliverer, or he is salvation. right? It says, they shall call on my name. Who's the they? Speaking of the elect, okay? And I will hear them. Okay, you hear that? They shall call on my name and I will hear them. Okay, only the elect is going to have the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, okay, in their mouths to call upon him in that day. All right. And the Lord knows who's his. Okay. There's no gonna be people, that's gonna be just calling on the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushai just because they heard, somebody say it, and they just call on the name and they don't have no works, they don't have anything, they don't have any faith, they just call on the name because they heard it, and they gonna get receive salvation on account of that. No, you have to have faith. You have to have some kind of works with you. You know what I mean? Or be a part of underneath a man of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man, to receive that kind of mercy. It says, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my power. Okay. Let's go to Malachi 3. Start at 1. Okay, it says the purified. It says, behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me. Right? And that messenger is speaking of none other than Yahweh Shai, man. Yahweh Shai is the one, that's going to bring the message to Israel. Okay. And that message is that good news. Okay. Good news is that, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, okay, you are going to receive salvation, and the elect of Israel is going to receive salvation on this side, but all Israel shall be saved eventually. Okay, that's the good news. You have a Redeemer. It says, and he shall prepare the way before me, and the Lord whom ye seek shall suddenly come to his temple. Okay, even the messenger of the covenant whom ye delight in. Behold, he shall come, saith the Lord of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming? Right? Because when Yahweh Shai comes, all hell's going to be already breaking loose. Like the scriptures say, what will it if it's already on fire? If the fire is already burning, man. He's just going to add more fire to it. And the fire is going to be, coming from World War III. These missiles, okay? And in the midst of that, Yahweh Shai is going to come with his chariots. Micah Allah and his angels in them chariots. And they're going to be putting people to death at the same time and beaming up people into, the fathership to receive salvation at the same time. So, how can you abide in that day? Okay, it says, and who shall stand when he appeareth? Only the elect. It's a question. It's a rhetorical question. And who shall stand when he shall appear? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire. Okay. and like a fuller's soap. Okay, let's look up what that term is, the fuller's soap. To wash by treading, to be washed, to perform the work of a fuller, a washer. Kind. Okay, wash you, make you clean, he said, right? Right. It says to trample, hence to wash properly by stamping with his feet, with the feet. He said, I have treaded the wine press alone, right? Which you tread the wine press with your feet. Well, that's representing the amount of death he's going to ensue on his appearance. Verse 3, it says, and he shall sit as a refiner and a purifier of silver, and he shall purify the sons of Levi. Okay, and it says the sons of Levi, but if you recall, the Lord said, we're going to be kings and priests. So the priesthood is dissolved, but we're going to be, priests. The priesthood is now after Yahweh Shai. Like scriptures say, after the order of Malak, Chazadak, man, Tazadakia. Okay, which that is speaking of Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, that's the order of the priesthood now. It says, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. Okay. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, and as in former years. Right? And that's what is going to happen, man. The Lord will restore, like it says, your judges as the former. Right? I want to go to, let's go to Ezekiel. I think it's 22. Okay. Ezekiel 22 and I'm going to start 17. It says, and the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, came unto me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross, right? All they are brass and tin and iron and lead in the midst of the furnace. They are even dross of silver. Okay, and that word dross, when you look it up, okay, it says a moving back or away, dross, usually of silver, right? In the sense of refuse, dross, okay? The undesirable, so to speak. When you have metal, precious metals, you have contaminants on them. So to purify them, you got to put them through the fire. You see? But the Lord said, you have become dross. You have become undesirable, you know, which when something becomes undesirable, you destroy it or you got to refine it. Okay. Verse 19, it says, therefore, saith the Lord, power, because ye are all become dross. Behold, therefore, I will gather you into the midst of Jerusalem, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin into the midst of the furnace to blow the fire upon it, right? To melt it. So will I gather you in mine anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. Okay? And that's, basically metaphoric saying that the Lord is going to leave you 2/3 in Babylon the Great, right? And the smith that bloweth the coal, and that represents Esau and his ICBM missiles and the rest of the nations with their ICBM missiles, okay, that they're going to shoot into the atmosphere and they're going to come down on Babylon, which is America, and it's going to melt you. It's going to leave you here because the elect is going to receive salvation and be beamed up into the chariots and receive salvation. And they're going to be up in the chariots looking down at what you Christians, refer to as hell, which is simply the lake of fire. That's what it's going to look like when all these missiles hit this place. And if you're not part of the elect, and you don't know the proper name, and you have no works, and you have no faith, guess what? The Lord is going to leave you here and melt you because you have become dross and you were unsalvageable. Okay? But there's good news. You are going to be reborn through the loins of the elect in the new kingdom. So there's hope for you. But there's no hope, okay, for the Lord's enemies. Okay, when they come back in the kingdom, they're going to be slaves. They're going to be tributaries. Okay, and that's all they'll ever be. But you Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay, you'll be the upper echelon. Okay. It says, yea, I will gather you and blow upon you in the fire of my wrath, and ye shall be melted in the midst thereof. As silver is melted in the midst of the furnace, so shall ye be melted in the midst thereof. And ye shall know that I am the Lord Yahweh Shai, that I, the Lord Yahweh Shai, have poured out my fury upon you. Right? Well, this is edifying. Until next time, I say shalom.